Hello and welcome to Phyre's LEGO Reviews. Today we're going to be looking at the LEGO Star Wars Mandalorian Starfighter set. It is set number 75316. It has 544 pieces and it retails for $70 in the US. You can find it currently on lego.com or any other retailer that sells LEGO sets. There's a good chance it's going to retire at the end of the year, so if you want this set, I would recommend picking it up soon. The front of the box here shows the Starfighter with a backdrop of Mandalore, with some stars in the background, some explosions going on. Really nice, detail here for the box art. Then of course it's got the white border with a clone on the top to represent this is from the Clone Wars series. It shows the minifigures on the bottom. The back side of the box shows the ship in a different configuration with some smaller sections showing some other details of the ship. The top of the box just has some more information as well as an actual size picture of Gar Saxon. And the ends of the box, nothing really spectacular here. There's an image of the Starfighter on the side here. And the bottom, nothing really that interesting. Let's open it up and see what's inside. So it looks like we've got 4 numbered bags here. So the ship will be built in 4 separate sections. We've also got 1 instruction booklet here. The instruction booklet was nice and flat inside the box. Unfortunately, the sticker sheet that came in the set was bent. It kind of gotten bent by being crushed by some of the bags and stuff. Hopefully it won't be too much of an issue. It's not completely creased or anything, so once these are applied, they should be fine. And the inside of the instructions here. Looks like we've got some basic LEGO stuff at the beginning, and then a breakdown of how much each bag builds, and then the first page here. After the first bag, the build looks like this. The first bag comes with our first minifigure of the set, which is, of course, Bo-Katan. And this minifigure was actually one of the main draws of the set for me. And she is fantastic looking. The first time that we've had this minifigure. And the helmet looks amazing. Super accurate to what we see on the Clone Wars and in the Mandalorian. The armor is really nice as well, with some blue highlights on the legs in particular, and as well as blue hands. She's got a jetpack in the back. Of course, the rangefinder can be moved down if you want it to be. And she's got 2 blasters here. She also comes with this hairpiece if you want to switch out the helmet and actually see her face. Unfortunately, the hairpiece isn't really ideal for this character. It doesn't really match the source material that well. LEGO could have produced a new mold for the hairpiece for this character, but unfortunately they decided to use an old one that doesn't really work that well. She does have a dual-sided face, so this side has more of a grimace on it, whereas the opposite side is just her smiling. But for me, being a fan of Mandalorians in particular, I like to see her with the Mandalorian helmet on. Again, that is a fantastic print, great colors, great design, and really a great minifigure overall. The build itself is going to be the rear portion of the ship. Not too much to comment on at this point. Obviously, this is only the first step out of 4 to get to the completed model, so this is just what it looks like at this point. We'll get into some of the play features and stuff as we move forward with the build. Alright, this is what the build looks like after the second bag. Second bag includes this minifigure, which is just a Mandalorian soldier. He looks really nice. He's got some, great printing on the torso and legs. Comes with 2 blasters, a jetpack. Nice printing on the helmet as well. There is also back printing, and the head underneath the helmet is just a plain black head, so no actual face here, unfortunately. And as for the build itself, the second bag built the cockpit and the nose of the ship. There are some what are going to be stud shooters here on the sides. The studs aren't in there yet. The cockpit opens up like this. I'll show you more details and features of this once the model is completed. but this is what it looks like at this part of the build. This is the progress after the third bag. As you can see, the third bag covers one of the two wings. The fourth and final bag will, of course, take care of the other wing. No minifigures come in this bag, since there's only 3 in the set. We've got 2 of them so far, and the last one will obviously come in the 4th bag. But as you can see, the wing here, there's a lot of nice detail here, a lot of nice color. I really like how they did this bright blue stripe here on this wing. You can see the detail there with the pieces they used. And it looks really nice. We've got some thrusters at the back. Of course, the other wing will be identical, just, you know, symmetrical in reverse. The wings also have the feature, it's hard to do with one hand, but they can be placed up like this. And you can see there's some detail on the bottom with some color as well. Obviously not as detailed as the top. And yeah, so that's what this looks like after the third bag. Here is the completed set after the 4th bag. The 4th bag comes with the third and final minifigure of the set, Gar Saxon. You can see there's some really nice printing. Just like all the figures on the set, he's got great leg printing, torso printing. The helmet has also got a great print and is, of course, a new mold, specifically for Gar Saxon with the horns there on the helmet. It comes with a blaster, a jetpack. And removing the helmet and jetpack, you can see he's got back printing here. Just a single-sided head. There you can see the expression on the front of his head. But overall, a really nice minifigure. And as for the ship itself, you can see it has a really nice design. It looks great when compared to the source material. Great color scheme as well. A lot of Star Wars ships are typically, different shades of gray, and this is nice to see with the dark blue and bright blue accents on the ship. Obviously, it's meant to be Bo-Katan's Starfighter, so it matches her color scheme, the color scheme of her armor with the blues and grays. So it looks really nice in that respect. Of course, we do have some features here. So the wings can be placed up like this. Give you a full 360-degree view of that. And they will actually go back, I think, a little bit further. Let's see if we can do that. Yeah, they'll go back. I think that's about as far back as they'll go. But as you can see, there's a little Technic pin here that prevents them from going too far forward. So as you can see, when it's flat, this is as far as they can rotate forward, thanks to that Technic pin there. Another feature is that the cockpit rotates, just like the actual ship would. So you can spin it around like this, and if you pick it up, you can have it flying this way if you want, and it rotates a full 360 degrees really smoothly. It's really nice how they were able to achieve that effect. Obviously, for display purposes, you would want to keep it this way, and potentially with the wings up as well. It's got stud shooters here, 2 on each side of the cockpit here. There are also spring-loaded shooters on the edges of each wing. The set does come with a couple extra studs and an extra spring-loaded shooter, just in case, someone who's playing with it might lose one of the pieces. Which is definitely a thing that can happen with play features like that. Another feature, we have this little turret, I guess, on the back here that rotates a full 360 degrees as well. So that's nice. You can see a lot of great details with the thrusters. Just the overall design of the ship is really nice looking, really sleek looking. Let's look underneath briefly. Obviously not as nice underneath, but they did manage to keep some of the color scheme on the wings underneath, which is good, because if you want to, display this with the wings up or with the cockpit rotated sideways, you want to see, a decent amount of detail on the wings. And obviously, this being a play set, they couldn't do, like, they couldn't make another side of the wings that has the detail of the top, whereas you might see something like that in a UCS set. but they were still able to put a decent amount of color and a little bit of detail on the bottom side, so that's nice. You can see some, I guess, some sort of blaster cannons on the front here, and then in the cockpit. So one issue that I have with this is that the way the cockpit is designed, you can see these gaps here between the cockpit piece and the actual interior of the cockpit. Obviously, if you were in a real starship, you would want that closed off, and obviously a more detailed model would be able to find the right pieces and building techniques to get that closed off. But unfortunately, in this playset size, there's nothing really they could do there, so you do have that gap there, which is just a little bit disappointing. You can see there's stickers on the cockpit piece, pretty easy to apply. And if you look inside, there's room for a couple minifigures to fit. You could put Bo-Katan there and her Mandalorian soldier, if you wanted to. You can see there is a control panel here for the pilot of the ship. Not a lot of detail on the inside of the cockpit, but definitely two places to fit minifigures in. We'll show you how that looks in a minute. So here is the cockpit with two minifigures inside. I put Bo-Katan and the Mandalorian soldier in there, with Bo-Katan as the pilot. Obviously their blasters have to be removed. They can't really hold anything in their hands and be able to fit inside here. But they will fit with the jetpacks on, and Bo-Katan will either need to have the rangefinder placed down or removed completely for the lid to close. But as you can see, it does close completely over those two minifigures with them in there. Like I said, all you have to do is remove their weapons and they'll both fit in fine, even with the jetpacks. Overall, this is a great set. Definitely would highly recommend it, especially if you're a fan of the Clone Wars or Mandalorians in general. Obviously, as we talked about, the minifigure selection is fantastic with the first ever appearances of Bo-Katan and Gar Saxon, and the Mandalorian Loyalist or Soldier is a great figure as well, to kind of add to your Mandalorian army if you happen to be building one. The ship itself is really nice. Like I said, I love the color scheme. It looks really nice. One of the only things that is a little bit of a drawback is that, if you want to display this set, which I plan on doing, there's no real display stand or even any kind of landing gear to like hold it up the way it should be, whether you want the wings down or up. I prefer them down because there's more detail on the front, and if they're up, you can't see that looking at it from the front angle. But as somebody who, like I said at the top of this video, I typically collect the more advanced Star Wars sets like the UCS and the Helmet series. I don't have a lot of play sets, but I did want to get this one, especially because of the minifigures, but also the ship itself looked cool. So just a slight little drawback that there's no real way to display this unless you build, some kind of display stand for yourself, which you definitely could do. And then the only other thing about the set that I didn't like, which I mentioned, is that little gap between the cockpit piece and the interior of the cockpit. That's just a little bit annoying to me, but other than that, the set looks really nice. The ship looks really nice, and my minifigures just fell over. But yeah, overall, it's a really nice set. This took me just over an hour to build, an hour and 6 minutes actually, split over a few different days with the different bags. But altogether, it was just over an hour. That averages out to about 7.3 seconds per piece, which is about a little over a second below my average, which is about 8.5 seconds per piece. So it was a relatively straightforward build, nothing too complex. Once I built the one wing with some of the detail there, building the second wing went a little bit faster, I think, just because I had already done it, in the opposite orientation already. So I was familiar with, what parts went where and everything. But it wasn't a boring build by any means. There was some interesting techniques, stuff, obviously not something advanced, anything too advanced like you would see in, UCS models or something like that, but definitely a fun build, an enjoyable build. It was neat seeing how the different features went together, particularly how the mechanism works for rotating the cockpit here on the interior. Oh, you can see a little bit of that came up when I tried to move it. So yeah, this set can be purchased currently on Lego.com and or other retailers as well. In the US, it retails for $60. I have seen reports that it may be retiring at the end of this year, so if you want to pick this set up, I would recommend doing it soon. I would give this set a 7 out of 10. Not higher, just because of the few drawbacks I mentioned about the ships. The minifigures, I think, get a solid 10 out of 10 on their own. But for the ship itself, averaged into that, the fact that it's a play set, the fact that it is missing some features like a display stand or landing gear, and lacks a little bit of detail on the underside, as well as that gap in the cockpit. That kind of all plays into my rating of giving it a 7 out of 10. But overall, it is still a really nice set, and I would definitely recommend it. Like I said, if you're a fan of the Clone Wars or Mandalorians, definitely this would be one that you'd want to pick up, especially before it gets discontinued and you have to pay for secondary market prices, down the line. Definitely pick this up now if you can, if you're interested in it. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more reviews, stay tuned to this channel, like and subscribe. If you have any requests for sets that you want to see reviewed, or any comments or questions about this set or this video in particular, leave a comment, and we'll see you next time. As you can see, the third bag builds one of the wings. The fourth and final bag will build the other wing, of course. You can see there's a lot of great... What the hell? The helmet is obviously a great print and a special mold for... Stand up.